What a gift Novak Djokovic has just given us to kick off the show tonight. We have all just watched that interview live up here, rewound it and watched it again to check that we weren't imagining it and that was actually all just happening. And it's quite a lot to process. But it feels like a real bizarre gift he's given us there.
Yeah, that was truly excellent. I mean, I wasn't in the stadium earlier. I was watching with the sound off because of the position I was in various interview rooms, etc. But my understanding is that the crowd was certainly at some points cheering Rune. Yeah?
A lot.
A lot. And he
kind of every time he won a point, which wasn't often.
And Djokovic didn't like that. After a while, he thought people were using it as an excuse to boo him
he
as
was
part of it, right?
Arguing with the umpire about it. And the umpire, there was this bizarre situation of the umpire explaining to him they're not booing, they're shouting Rune.
Right.
And I felt like saying, Novak, we all endured a whole Australian Open of this a couple of years ago when the whole Sue thing caught on.
Yeah.
And Sue Barker endured it walking onto centre court the other day.
People thought they're booing Sue!
Right.
Yeah.
So, look, I mean, maybe the odd one or two people jumped on it and used it as an excuse to get at Djokovic, but I don't think he's got that right in that I don't think that was hostility towards him, but I also absolutely don't mind him having a pop like that.
Oh, it's so much fun.
It's harmless aggro, isn't it? I mean, tennis players using imaginary haters to fuel themselves to victory. It's a tale as old as time.
Yeah, and as you say, like, what a gift, because it's really given us something to talk about and something to be excited about for his future matches as well. Like, it's like, oh, okay, Novak Djokovic is in that mood, is he? Okay, I can kind of get on board with that. And yeah, I think he probably slightly misread it, but has used it for kind of to his advantage, because that to me, okay, look, we've got a lot of Holger Rune stuff to talk about. That was not a good performance from him, but that's as good as Novak Djokovic has looked in quite a while, I would say, tonight. So smooth, so in control of his game from start to finish, played well in the few key moments that there were, and yeah, like, he's right where he wants to be in this tournament now.
Yeah, for anybody that missed that interview, he said, to all the fans who have respect and stayed here tonight, I appreciate it. But then when Rishi Prasad doing the interview kind of pushed back and said, look, I don't think it was anti towards you. I think they were, trying to give Rune some desperately needed encouragement. Novak said, I don't accept that. That is not what's happening. He said, I've been on tour for 20 years. I know what's going on out here.
False.
And then he goes, you guys can't touch me.
Yeah.
Which is going to be set to music and doing the rounds on the internet very soon,
yeah, I mean,
isn't it? And
he
I'm going to
pointed
enjoy
out
it.
there's been a lot more hostile crowds than this. And I mean, he's absolutely right, because
this is centre court at Wimbledon.
On a Monday night.
The most
Kid stuff,
genteel crowd there ever is.
But fantastically entertaining that it pissed him off. And I mean, look, it takes me back to his early days when he was due to face Andy Roddick at the US Open, and Roddick kind of made fun of him in the press conference before the match, and people asking him about what to expect from the match he was about to play, and he said, well, kind of, it depends whether he gets out there, because you've told me he's got an injury, so what is it? Is it SARS? Is it anthrax? Is it bird flu? And he said all these things, and Djokovic, not surprisingly, didn't take too kindly to that. Djokovic, Roddick does like to do those sort of things in the press conferences. I can understand why that wound Djokovic up. Djokovic then proceeds to beat him in 4 sets inside the Arthur Ashe Stadium, and the brilliant interviewer for USA Network, who had the rights and who were showing their last ever night of tennis before the rights shifted to ESPN. I think it was Michael Barkin, I think his name was the interviewer, a brilliant interviewer. He just sort of put it to Novak about you seemed really motivated tonight, and Novak took that as the opportunity to say, yeah, I guess I don't have all these things that Andy said I have, huh? And then the crowd started booing him, and he just stood up to them like 23,000 New Yorkers who were all booing him off the court. It was absolutely epic. And that is very much the Novak Djokovic I enjoy seeing. But tonight, I think he has managed to wrestle an argument out of not very much, and definitely here for it.
Yeah, Novak Djokovic has never been to a Bruce Springsteen concert. That is something that has become evident tonight.
Yes.
Sadly.
What happens at those?
People go, Bruce.
Oh.
Oh. And he's never watched Matt Kuchar play golf, where they go, Coo.
Right. Or the Sue. Like, he was there for the Sue thing. I'm sorry to bring that up. That was
terrible.
a bad time at that Australian Open, wasn't it? But, yeah, I mean, look, he's used this as fuel for his whole career, hasn't he? And maybe his subconscious feels like he needs an extra boost.
But I also think his subconscious is so aware of times when he has been booed, and it's been like frankly out of order at times. I think back to the other US Open when he beat Federer, and the whole crowd. Look, I understand the support and the love for Federer, but I remember feeling for Djokovic that night. Geez, how on earth is he standing up to this? Because it would make me shrivel to think of the amount of people against him that night. And he still won. And he made that a trademark of his career. And I'm sure in the subconscious there, even though he's become a lot more appreciated in this country in front of this crowd the last few years, I feel, there's a lot of residual feeling, I reckon. I mean, I'm only diagnosing it from afar, but he's sensitive to it, and yeah, if he hears, I reckon, one or two, then that kind of, I guess, feeling comes out. Okay, well, that's wound me up. I'm going to take you all on.
Yeah, and like, think how flat he was through the first 5 months of this season, and I know most of that was outside of the slams, but he was flat at the Australian Open as well. We didn't see this side of Novak Djokovic, and this is a dangerous side of Novak Djokovic for the rest of the draw, I think, if he's in that kind of mood.
Just because I'm paranoid doesn't mean they're not out to get me. Don't know who said that, but it's springing to mind, certainly.